Classroom of the Elite Season 2 Episode 10, and finally I caught up to the latest episode of Classroom of the Elite after being 3 episodes behind since the last time I made consistent episode reviews of the anime. So hopefully the next episode review, the episode 11, will be one that I can actually put out the same day that the episode comes out. So hopefully nothing bad or weird or out of place happens in my real life so I can get the episode out. But yeah, in this episode 10 we got so much information thrown at us that it is the typical thing that happens in Classroom of the Elite episode where a lot of things are thrown at you. But this episode was even more than that, because aside from learning a lot of things, those things that we learned in this episode also basically gave us a lot of new unanswered questions, and those unanswered questions are really bothering me because I actually left the episode a little bit weirded out, not because the episode was bad or anything like that. It was actually pretty good, but because this was an episode that, like I said already, left me with a lot of questions. And so I'm making this episode review kind of still speculating on about what happened in the episode, the whole content of the episode. So forgive me if I say anything that is wrong or that may be proven wrong in the future, because I'm not sure of the things that happen in this episode are correct in my view, or I should say I'm not sure if I'm interpreting correctly the things that happen in this episode, because a lot of things happen, like I said. So yeah, the first thing, or I should say the most important thing that happened in this episode, and that is the spotlight of this episode, is that we get to see Ayanokouji's father for the first time. We already been mentioned about him in past episodes in the first season, about Ayanokouji having a father and him being in the White Room and things of that nature. But we didn't actually really knew that those things were connected, the White Room and Ayanokouji's father. I guess you could have a theory, or you could speculate upon on that maybe those two things were connected, that Ayanokouji's father has something to do with the White Room. And if I'm not mistaken, it is implied that he is the owner, at least, of the White Room, or has, substantial involvement in the White Room. So yeah, those two things are connected. And of course, Ayanokouji was one of those subjects, if you can call it like that, of the White Room. So yeah, Ayanokouji's father is actually, I guess I could say, the owner of the White Rooms. And he even says that they're back in operation now. So I wonder what happened that made them stop temporarily. Maybe it has something to do with Ayanokouji or somebody else. And we also get introduced to Chairman Sakayanagi, which is of course the father of Arisu Sakayanagi, the main leader of Class A, and probably the main opponent in the future of Ayanokouji, which of course the second opponent being Ichinose and now being Ryuen. So yeah, that alone is pretty interesting, because we even get further explanation, or we are explaining in the episode, that he actually does help Arisu with whatever he can, because again, he doesn't actually say that he helps Sakayanagi, her daughter, but with him saying that Ayanokouji gets that he actually does help her, but with whatever he can, of course, not something that is out of his power. So yeah, he actually has some involvement with her daughter. So yeah, her daughter is more powerful than we actually think she is, because not only is she smart, probably in part with Ayanokouji, or maybe a little bit behind him, but she also has the power of the Sherman behind her. Of course, it doesn't actually help that she's also in Class A, so she has everything on her side. Being smart, being in a good position, having powerful connections, and yeah, she will be a tough opponent for Ayanokouji in the future. And of course, he actually was the one that got Ayanokouji accepted into the school, because he was going to be rejected if it wasn't for him. But he actually accepted Ayanokouji, because I don't know, we're not explaining necessarily the reason why he accepted Ayanokouji. We do learn that he was secretary of his father a couple of years ago, and well, in general, he likes Ayanokouji, but I don't think that's enough reason for him to accept Ayanokouji, maybe he accepted him because he was a test subject of the white rooms, and maybe he wanted to see what he could actually do in his school, in the school that now he's in. So maybe that was one of the reasons. We can also speculate that maybe her daughter Arisu Sakayanagi is also, a test subject of the white rooms, which wouldn't surprise me because again, he was secretary of Ayanokouji's father a couple of years ago. So maybe her daughter was also a test subject of the white rooms, which can also explain why she's so smart, because I guess that people that make it or that come out of those white rooms are people that are very smart. So yeah, that could be an explanation. And like I said already, it wouldn't surprise me because there are so many connections pointing to that maybe Sakayanagi, the daughter, is actually also a test subject of the white room. So that could also be a reason for the chairman to accept Ayanokouji. Maybe he wanted to see Ayanokouji, go against her daughter. So I guess there are a couple of reasons why he could accept Ayanokouji, but like I said already, we are not actually explaining the reason. And another important thing that we learned in this episode, and that is actually also really important, is that the teacher, which I always forget her name, is Chiba something, actually doesn't know Ayanokouji's father, because that is why she had this much power over Ayanokouji all this time, because she basically extorted Ayanokouji into being in line with whatever plans she had. And those plans were, of course, getting Ayanokouji to get them to class A, which is something that the teacher wants. I don't know why the reason is that she wants to get to class A so desperately, but yeah, that is the reason why she was using Ayanokouji. And because of this, Ayanokouji has lost interest because now he doesn't actually have a menace of anything. There's nothing threatening him really. The teacher was found out that she actually doesn't have any connection to his father, and now Ayanokouji has lost interest. So yeah, now that he also has the backing of the chairman, now more than ever he doesn't actually feel like getting to class A, or maybe that is what he's trying to make us all think. Maybe he actually still wants to get to class A, because at the start of the episode we learned that he's still following through, that he wants to get to class A when he's having that talk with Horikita. But almost at the end of the episode we get the opposite. Now that he has had that talk with his father, with the chairman, and found out that the teacher doesn't actually know his father, we actually get the opposite, that now he doesn't actually have the motivation to get to class A. So yeah, the start and the ending of the episode is basically light and darkness, because we start with him still wanting to get to class A and help Horikita get to class A, but at the end of the episode we get all the opposite. He has lost motivation and he doesn't want to really get to class A. He's not going to stop his classmates from getting to class A, but he will not take that much of a protagonist role into getting into class A, because he doesn't feel like it. So yeah, like I said already, it could be also that Ayanokouji is trying to fake us out. He's trying to basically believe that he's not trying to get to class A, and that he will take a more passive role, and that he doesn't have really the motivation to do it. Like again, it could be all part of his plan, which if he is, it wouldn't surprise me, because Ayanokouji is that smart to make us believe that he doesn't actually want to get to class A anymore. And because of that, we get a really sad scene at the end of the episode. I guess we were all sad when we saw that Ayanokouji has broken up whatever relationship he had with Karuizawa. Until this point, they were getting a little bit closer slowly and slowly. They were cooperating into getting class D into class C, basically in class D and class A eventually. So yeah, they were cooperating with that, doing strategies to get themselves into class C, B, and A. But now that apparently Ayanokouji doesn't have the motivation to do it anymore, he has broken off whatever little relationship he had with Karuizawa, which of course Karuizawa doesn't like it, because at this point she basically likes Ayanokouji. And Ayanokouji also knows that. He even got told by his fake boyfriend that Karuizawa likes him. So yeah, there is no possible way that he doesn't know that Karuizawa likes him. So yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking for Karuizawa. and he broke it off. I mean, he basically said that Karuizawa was of no use anymore. I still think that he will keep protecting Karuizawa from, the other girls and whatever threat comes to her. But yeah, I mean, he broke it off. I don't know if that is a part of his plan, because we know that Ryuen is trying to target Karuizawa. So maybe that is not actually what Ayanokouji has in mind of breaking up whatever relationship he has with Karuizawa. Maybe that is something that Ayanokouji has to do temporarily, because like I said already, Ryuen is targeting Karuizawa, and maybe he has to break that relationship because of that. And by doing that, he has to give the impression that he's actually doing it because, well, he wants to do it because he lost motivation. He doesn't want to actually give the impression that he's doing it because, Karuizawa is in danger, or because Ryuen is targeting him. Maybe that is the reason why he did that. Maybe that is the reason why he broke the relationship in that way, in that cold way. But maybe in the future he will again tell Karuizawa the truth, maybe at the end of the season or something like that. That was something temporarily, that was something that was not meant to be, permanent. Him breaking up the relationship and the cooperation that he had until this point with Karuizawa, it was only because that was part of his plan to get back at Ryuen, to get back Ryuen into a corner. So yeah, let's see if that is actually the case. Or, of course, it could also be the case that it is actually true what he said in this episode, that he has no need for Karuizawa now. She will still be in the spotlight in the future episodes, because Ryuen hasn't actually even started his plan yet. She will definitely be in the spotlight in future episodes. And now the question is, what will Ayanokouji do? Because if it is actually true that he's not interested in going to Class C, Class B, and A, well, he will do nothing to save Karuizawa. Or maybe he will, because he made a promise with her. So yeah, let's see what will he do. I actually think he will protect Karuizawa, that this is only something that is necessary for him to get back at Ryuen. And even if it's not the case, even if he actually does mean to break it off with Karuizawa, I still think he will protect her, because they made a promise. So yeah, even if it's not the case, what I'm saying, that he's only doing that to basically get back at you. And even if it's not the case, even if he actually does mean it, that he wants to break whatever relationship he has with Karuizawa because he lost the motivation, I still think he will actually protect her. So yeah, I mean, they will definitely be involved, those two and Ryuen, in future episodes. So definitely this is not the last time we see something of Ayanokouji, of Karuizawa, and of Ryuen, of course. So yeah, I mean, those are basically the main things that happened in this episode. So many important things that came out of this episode. But yeah, I mean, that is my episode review, and I don't know if you like it. Sorry if I'm a little bit all over the place in this episode, but it's been a long time since I made this episode reviews, and yeah, it is pretty difficult for me to get my ideas out. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I hope you like the episode review, and I guess I'll see you all in the next episode review.